Was Geddy Lee a good vocalist? Let's talk about it. Alright, so Rush is known for many musical accomplishments and their high level of technical prowess and imagination and their ability as top of the line musicians at their respective instruments. But the one thing that they're not known for is their vocals. Starting from the very first album, Geddy Lee presented the world with a bit of an enigma as a vocalist. He has a very high vocal range on the early albums, and combination of his falsetto voice along with Neil Peart's very densely packed lyrics was quite a stunning change from where Rush had been on its first album. And I think this is a good place to pick up the conversation about Geddy Lee's vocal ability. And perhaps more importantly, the lyrics on the first album were quite vocal friendly. They were made to be sang in front of a live audience. They had really strong choruses and they weren't that dense linguistically. That all changed, of course, when Neil Peart came on board and started to write much more complicated, much more dense lyrics. And this is where we can really get into the meat of whether or not he is a good or accomplished vocalist. But before I do that, like to Geddy Lee's vocals, I'm going to give you 3 points pro and 3 points con, and I'm going to leave it up to you to tell me what you think about his vocal abilities. Alright, so on the pro side, maybe one of the best things that Geddy Lee has going for him as a vocalist is that he sings with an enormous amount of sincerity. It's likely that this arises from such a close relationship that he had with Neil Peart regarding the lyrical content and the lyrical attitude of the band. What I mean by this is there was undoubtedly a stage during their collaborative process where they had to be on the same emotional page in order to even go forward with a set of lyrics, and I think this pays off in the long run in the way that he sings with absolute integrity. Number 2, another great quality that Geddy Lee has as a vocalist has an ability to sing with vulnerability, meaning he can sing the part of someone who is fragile or who is currently experiencing a quote dark night of the soul. You can get a feeling from this as early on as the song The Fountain of Lamneth. You can get it from Closer to the Heart. You can go all the way through to songs like The Pass. There are just an enormous amount of songs where Geddy Lee shows his ability to sing from a vulnerable perspective. The third thing that I think that Geddy Lee does very well as a vocalist is that he is good at getting into various characters. So I think that Geddy Lee has the ability to sing operatically, journalistically. He can sing a pop song, he can sing a ballad, he can sing a heavy song, he can sing socially aware songs like Subdivisions, he can sing fun songs like A Passage to Bangkok. So he has a great degree of diversity in his emotional range as a vocalist. Now let's talk about 3 things that aren't maybe so good with Geddy Lee. First of all, clearly it's his vocal tone and the strength and timbre of his voice. He doesn't have a natural rhythm in his voice the way that a lot of singers do. He doesn't have an infectious groove in what he does. He is basically an everyman, and he uses phrasing, vocal phrases that come naturally to him the way that he would as a speaker rather than as someone who is a trained vocalist. Number 3, I would say that this is also perhaps his greatest weakness as a vocalist, which doesn't seem to prioritize the vocals in Rush's music the same way that he prioritizes the musical arrangements or even the tone of his bass or the tone of his keyboards. They're good enough. You never get the feeling that Geddy Lee pays particularly intense attention to his vocals. He's not a vocally driven musician, at least not in my opinion. So when you take those 3 pros and the 3 cons together, if you're a Rush fan, you're not going to care about Geddy Lee's vocals. They're more than adequate, they're beloved, they're an integral part of Rush's sound and soul, and so therefore, to a true Rush fan, Geddy Lee is a great vocalist. To anyone else, it's a bit of a hit and a miss affair, and it begs the question of whether or not, as I've mentioned before, it would have done Rush some good to bring in an outside vocalist, at least in a couple of occasions, to make music that could be friendly to and admired by those who do not enjoy Geddy Lee's vocals. So this is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.
Music Guru here, asking you to help us on our march to 10,000 subscribers.